The flames, dude.
Awesome.
The flames. That
That's
was that was pretty fun. I just had to throw that in there, honestly.
Yeah.
Just had to like show that one instead.
I had a lot of fun messing about with that, tracking down a decent sort of flame effect and things. Yeah. So, the Shadow of Peril. It's been 2 months since Eigner, Okrim, and On were recruited by Garth to go and have a look into the caravan problem. In those 2 months, they've picked up many jobs, and Eridu has also been keeping himself busy.
Indeed. Eridu has recently learned that there is an not an Asmar, a Eladrin, about in the Twin Harbors area, and has spent a chunk of those 2 months looking into this and trying to find an audience with this elusive On. This led him back into the forest, where he spent a lot of time rekindling his relationship with Agnar, as Agnar has worked with On in the past.
Yeah,
Also,
it went okay.
Also, at some point, he had made an agreement with Okrim to develop a musical instrument much like the one of Okrim's own making. This one, however, meant to create a much deeper sound than a normal, I guess, guitar is the name that Okrim came up with for his new instrument.
Yep.
What a strange word. And this deepening sound, would that be something to give it a bit more bass?
It's all about the bass.
You know it.
None of that treble. All right. A particularly peculiar job posting goes up in the town of Twin Harbors. Something that certainly piques your interest.
Is this like is this all of us here at the board, or is it just one of us, or what?
It'll be you, Eigner, stood at the board,
Figures.
seeing this, and it looks like this is a job that would require a few people. The description lets you know that this is going to be a simple guard duty job, but the start of the route is along a road that you are now familiar with as of your job 2 months ago, and it takes you really far northwest. It takes you a few 100 miles northwest.
What?
It's far, but not only is the money really good for this trip that should probably take you a couple of months round trip total, this is going to give you 10,000 gold pieces in payment.
Unbelievable.
Not only that, but
Unbelievable.
the parchment used to create this job posting, you can tell it's not local. And in fact, it looks like it's being made by an elven city far away. The art style and the calligraphy screams internal arts craft of likely the wood elves, most likely the high elves.
Okay. All right. So I'm the one that's seeing this, and I think I need to get the opinion of my comrades to see if they think that this is anything
Go ask an
worth
elf.
it going. Would I know?
Stoutfire voice.
Would I know where to find Okrim and Eridu at this point?
Yes,
Would it be for
we'll say that you know where they are, and that you'd likely go and recruit helpers to deal with larger jobs.
Mm-hmm. Well, where the hell would I find Eridu?
Well,
Where would you find her?
What would he be doing when I run into him?
what would Eridu be
What would
doing?
Eridu be doing?
Eridu lives in a very comfortable apartment in the nicer parts of town. And it depends on how you go about contacting him. He could be out, he could be home, he could be with company.
Could be. Well, Eigner's not really one for subtlety, so he's just gonna go right up to your door and knock.
Okay. Eridu will answer the door, wearing only a towel,
Yep.
as you do.
Yeah,
You're tall and attractive.
for sure.
Um, and he'll open the door and, Eigner, what a wonderful surprise. What can I do for you, my friend?
Eridu, and
Yes.
and also I don't even like, you know, care or notice that you're in the towel. Like I'm just assuming that this is something that you know, comes up a lot.
Probably.
Eridu is just like trying to show off his body all the time.
He's got some nice
Yeah,
abs.
he's
Just
got
check
some
this
nice
out.
abs. Eridu, my friend, I saw something on the job board, very recently. In fact, I brought it. You know, I just straight like ripped that thing off of the board, and I'm taking it with me, and I'm saying like, it's a big job. It's kind of a scary sounding job, but it pays really well, and also it's an opportunity to not work with people here in Twin Harbors. By now, Eigner's getting like a little cynical in this situation. Like he's just been working really hard over the past 2 months, and he's just like a little stir crazy, and he wants to get out of here.
Eridu takes a quick glance at the parchment and says, "A little privacy is probably in order. Come in." And he's gonna walk you through his nice apartments. On his bed, it's a nice cush round bed. The sheets are all a tossle, and an elderly woman is fast asleep. You can kind of tell by how the blankets are laying that she's probably naked because the top half of her body is exposed, but she's laying on her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully for you. He leads you out onto the balcony, and you know, closes the door behind you. And so, what do you know of this job so far?
I've been able to figure out that it has some kind of elven connection. I was hoping actually you would know a little more about this. I mean, the calligraphy, the even the quality of the paper. Like, what do you think?
I'm gonna study the calligraphy and all that a little more in detail. What can I learn about these elves?
Give me a history skill check, intelligence based. Make it with advantage. You are an elf. You grew up in elven lands.
Nice.
And I can't get my d20 out of my freaking case.
You suck.
When you spill all the dice. Okay. With advantage. Wonderful. And I am trained in history. That's good.
I just noticed
So-
that you're God Monkey, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I default to that.
Okay.
That's a 17.
17, did you say?
Yeah.
Right. You know that this is from a noble family. You notice immediately some of the typefacing of the calligraphy is essentially what in a lot of like human and dwarven kingdoms would essentially be like a royal seal stamp. But in the case of the elves, it's just the flourishes that you get to the lettering that tell you which family it's from. And this is from a noble one. This is from the Tackentire family. And you know that they are from far west. You know that in the
Their
past they...
dialect is different than mine because they have harsher sounds.
And you know that these high elves were very involved with wars past. So in the last few hundred years, they have been used essentially as the generals and overall overseers of tactical warfare for many an empire. Often hired as mercenaries from time to time. Sometimes they are brought in whole cloth as part of the nations involved in the wars.
That's intense, dude.
Does the so if I'm understanding this right, it is a escort mission
Yes.
to this region, quite some distance to the northwest.
Through the dangerous territory that we learned about and, you know, traversed in the previous adventure.
No discussing what the escort what we're escorting, or anything like that. No
It
finer
doesn't. It
details.
does have a contact,
Okay.
and it says that you can meet them at Pier 3,
At
All right.
and it gives you a
at
time
any
and
particular...
date,
Oh, okay.
and it says in 2 days' time.
What's the general reputation of the Takentire family? Are they known to be liked and well trusted, or are they known for being a little bit shifty?
You know that they have friends and foes at home and abroad. Some people really like them, sing their praises, think that they're fantastic. Other people say that they're a little too hungry for their particular talents.
Okay. Uh, well, with my character's current beliefs, I'll take a look at Egnar and say, well, it appears we're being hired by the Takentire family to do something. Something.
Something.
Lack of details. I don't like these. I can tell. I know you from your history definitely do not like a lack of details, and this is a situation that is far full of those.
I don't, but I also like the sound of 10,000 gold.
That is a lot of money. The family
a
does
lot.
have that.
It's a lot of things to get with that gold.
Well, I would be more than happy to accompany you, as that is a lot of money, and I do not have a lot of opportunities to meet many elves outside of this area.
I'm wondering if our friend Okrim will know any more about the situation that we don't. He has an uncanny ability to get around. He knows everyone. I don't understand how he just knows like the entire town, like the.
Oh, and he would probably know of the Takentires from the stories that he has told.
Of course.
I wonder, could we try to contact your friend On? Perhaps he would.
Oh, On?
Yes.
I don't know. I think On is resting right now. He went through. I think he's still resting from 2 months ago. He went through a really hard time in that last adventure. I think maybe he should just stay in bed.
You in fact know that On has been almost unreachable in the last 2 months. You've barely seen hide nor hair of him.
I wonder if he's still blue, as you told me.
I think that has been his main mission, is to unblue himself. And I do not know if he's been successful.
Well, where do you think we will meet our friend Okrim?
If I know Okrim, if he's not in the square playing his guitar, then the tavern? Huh?
He'd be at home.
Oh, he'd be at home? Oh, okay.
In his cottage in the suburbs.
Well,
on the east side.
Well, Eridu and I check out the tavern first, anyways, and Eigner, just says like, let's drink one, and then keep going to meet Okrim, and then he just eventually like stretches it to like three drinks, easily. And
the whole time, Eridu will nurse a single glass of wine, continually chuckling to himself how Agnar's description of one is very different than his own.
Yeah. So
what time would you guys be at the bar?
I would say like
we probably waste the morning there.
We probably definitely waste the morning.
Early afternoon.
Yeah, so I'd say like we're at like 1 in the afternoon right now. We just finished third drink. I just finished third drink, and I'm ready to go now. And I get up and I say like, all right, Eridu, yeah, let's.
Did you even let Eridu put on some pants, or is he still walking around in a towel?
Well, that's up to you, dude. I mean, I don't really care.
We would have taken some time. He would have to usher his company from his home.
For sure.
Okay,
so maybe it's like 1:30, and we're on our way over to your place unless you decide to randomly come out or whatever.
Okay, so I will just instead of having to role play my fiance, you will go to my house and I'm not there. I am shopping at the market.
Oh, you're shopping. Ah.
I am getting groceries.
Okay.
So you can find me in the nearby market.
All right.
When you find Okrim at the market, you notice that, contrary to near the tavern, where you noticed that there was a slightly increased mountain dwarf contingency there. You noticed that there are a few more of them around than you normally see. You see one or two from time to time, but this seems like a new unit's been sort of given shore leave in the area. A lot of them about. When you meet Okrim in the markets, you see the opposite. You see lots of humans and elves that have a rather strict bearing about them, like they've been trained in the military.
Okay.
Yes.
So we find Okrim.
Yeah, fairly easily. I'm just like you know how like you're like basically going through with your basket. You're just kind of like looking, like going down the aisle and seeing what you want. That's basically what he's doing. Like when he's not working, he's like basically in flip flops and like.
For sure. So once I get up to Okrim, I'm going to make what I call like a paranoia check or something. Essentially, I'm gonna roll.
It'd be just an insight check.
I'm gonna roll exactly. I'm gonna roll an insight check, and you tell me like how paranoid I should be about giving what I think is sensitive news to Okrim right now. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a 19 insight. How paranoid am I about the militarized people around me? Like, do I think they could be listening to me? Like, do I have insight into that?
Sorry, asking.
The GM, the God Monkey.
Yes. So, with a 19 in your insight, you know that they are on edge, but not in an immediate way. They don't seem to be listening in or paying particular attention to their surroundings. A lot of them seem fairly distracted, in fact. But you can tell that they're not at ease, that there's something on their minds, something's bothering them.
Interesting. All right, so I'll meet up with Okrim, and I'll say, Okrim, my fine fellow, we're hoping to meet you at your house later to discuss a potential job.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate to interrupt if you have something important going on right now, but
I'm just shopping. I'm just getting groceries for the week, you know,
Very
like
well.
you do when you're, you know, not killing things.
Oh yeah, the married life. I understand.
Yeah.
I actually don't, but it must be nice.
Yeah, it's a nice. Yeah, it's, you know, a lot better than being on the seas. I mean, I miss the seas, but you know, I like being in a relationship more. So.
Fair enough.
Eridu is going to pick up a piece of fruit and throw a few copper down to pay for it, and then walk over to Okrim and say, Okrim, it's been some time. How goes the construction of the instrument in which we had discussed?
Did I not finish that?
You have not returned it to me. Is it finished?
Oh, yeah. I finished it. I think. Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, good.
This past couple months, I've been kind of busy.
It happens. I understand.
Let's go check. At minimum, I'm mostly done.
Okay.
At minimum.
At minimum,
Very
you're
well.
mostly done.
At minimum, I'm mostly done.
I think we can manage that.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So
You're able to get back to Okrim's abode with no trouble at all. Again, you see a slightly increased presence of new faces in Twin Harbors, but nothing's kicking off. Nothing's overly worrying.
okay. So once we get into your house, then I'm going to, like, once the door is closed and everything, I can safely just launch into it with Okrim and just say, like, we have a job offer, and it's really fishy like the last one was, but I don't know, there's a lot of gold involved, and I think we really need this.
Is Okrim's fiance home?
Yeah, she
Okay.
directed you guys to the
That's
market.
Eridu will spark up a little bit of side conversation with her, and then help her make a pot of tea for everyone.
Okay. She is actually if I remember, she's a bard herself, but she, if I remember correctly, but she's not one generally to wait on guests like that. But it's obvious that
It's all right. Eridu will just wait on us.
Eridu will spend his time waiting on people. He'll take that forefront then.
No, I'm just saying that it's just one of those situations where she's not one like some wives or even husbands whatever you come in your friends come in and they prep everything. She's not one of those people.
Oh yeah, I get that.
So, no, she's a monk. I stand corrected.
Oh,
cool. So that would be what we're going to discuss.
There you go.
Yeah. I stand corrected on that one. She's
wow. Eridu and her have so much in common.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's at least two things they both appreciate.
Yeah.
And she's a half elf too.
There's 3 connections. Only one of them is a half connection.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's like
I almost think that Eridu probably knows Okrim's wife better than he knows Okrim. I imagine those two probably have a lot in common. They discuss every time he goes to visit Okrim.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if the phrase "Do you have a little elf in you? Would you like some more?" comes out of Eridu's mouth, ending it right here.
No.
Eridu would know well enough not to say that.
And I think Okrim would know well enough not to feel threatened by Eridu in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure, but that's still not, that's not gonna fly.
All right. So essentially, I present to Okrim all the details that we discussed about the job and all of the insights that Eridu had about the Tackentire royal family that is the most likely folks behind this whole thing. What say you?
What would be, as a noble, of noble birth, what would be my opinion of them? Because we have an elven perspective, but...
Yeah, give me a history check.
Okay.
And again, make it with advantage. You've got a connection here. You've got more information to go on.
Okay. History, you said?
Yes.
16.
Your opinion of it from your family's history is that you haven't had a lot of immediate dealings with them, but while working on the Tranquility, you have encountered occasional soldiers working for them, and they've been very disciplined, very forthright, and they never scrimp on a deal. If they've made a deal with you, even if things go south, they will reward you for all of your efforts. They're very good business people, but there's always something. They always withhold a little something, information-wise. So they'll get you to do a very simple job, but there's always more to it.
Gotcha. What's the Lannister never always pays their debts kind of situation?
Yes.
Okay.
They're like the Lannisters, dude.
Huh?
They're like the Lannisters? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Yeah, okay. They pay. I'm always a little uneasy around them. Nothing overt.
Okay.
But, I mean, I've never been around them, but, I always feel like, in my dealings with the perimeters of their consorts and whatnot, there's always something I don't see. and that says something. So, but they are always reliable. And nothing has ever come back on me, on me or my crew.
I see. So this job offer, it must be understood that it would take about 2 months. 2 months, maybe could be more, could be less. Who knows? There's so much distance needs to be traveled.
That's 2 months there and back.
That's correct. So
No, I was
roughly.
asking, I know.
Oh, sorry.
I know, because like player knowledge, character knowledge.
Yes.
2 months. Is that 2 months there and back, or is that 2 months there and 2 months back?
I thought that was 2 months there and back. That's how I.
Yeah, it is, but
that's how I
I'm
took it.
asking. Okrim is asking.
Yeah.
Eigner,
It's-
not Josh is asking.
Yeah. Well, that's how I understood it, so I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I can do 2 months.
Eridu comes with the tea and serves everyone. With each glass of tea he offers, he makes a little like shower of sparks and it kind of shoot up from the top of the glass before handing it to whomever he's offering it to.
Wow.
And then sits down and says, "So what are we discussing?"
We're discussing leaving this cesspool for 2 months for what is ultimately a simple job. Perhaps.
But I mean,
You
even
never
if you
know.
split up the money 3 ways, that's 2 years worth of money, essentially,
Yeah.
each.
And from what information that we know between you two, they might be not the most reputable folks, but they pay. They certainly come through with the payment. And I mean, it's ultimately up to you two, because I do not have any connection here to Twin Harbor, and honestly have become quite sick of it recently.
Okay, I would have because obviously my fiance Emily would be in the room. From this daughter of a soldier's perspective, what would her input be? Because her father is a soldier; he's a scout.
Well, I suppose it would depend on her personal experiences of it as well. It could be that she understands that going away is part of the job.
Well, that's normal. That's whatever. She knows I'm an adventurer. Her father was a scout. We've been gone for months at a time. I'm talking about, like, what are her feelings on this particular mission, not on adventuring as a whole.
Oh.
Knowing what she knows.
I've not given much thought to your fiance.
From the perspective of a military brat, what would
Yeah.
how do you think you would feel about it? Military brat, by the way, is an actual term. It's not a.
No, I'm sure.
In fact, her input will be that her understanding of the Tackentires is that they are very forthright, very useful people to know and to have on your side.
Okay.
And that if they are posting for a job publicly, that they are looking for something quiet and low key, and she knows that that's something that you can do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. 'Cause I always listen to Emily, so I will. I guess I should give you guys like her information, because she is as much a partner in my adventures as she is in my life. So,
Was that you?
That was me.
Oh, it was you.
But yeah. So okay. So I'm with her good word. I'll say let's go.
All right, so it says that the meeting is at Pier 3 in 2 days.
Yep.
And
Is there anything that anyone's wanting to do in those 2 days specifically?
I actually
Well,
wanna
as soon
figure
as
out-
possible, I would like to get my base.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you guys got to figure that out.
'Cause
And
Your
Di-
base.
the instrument you're making, man. It's a base.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm going to. Not completed yet. Almost done. So I'll finish it up over the last couple days.
Well, good.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be done before we go.
Oh, like I said, almost done. Like we're talking.
Okay.
Like basically, polish and stringing and like the overall construction is done. So it's just like the finishing touches, if you will.
Very
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like acquiring because obviously like bass strings are harder to come by than traditional guitar strings because guitar strings are basically lute strings, so they're a lot easier. So I had to have
You had these ones
Base.
custom made.
right.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So I'm wondering, did we talk about like how much money we got from the last thing, or like
Oh yeah,
We did.
I can't remember. We got 100 what?
That was
Yeah,
discussed,
150.
150.
discussed off camera.
Oh, okay. Well, I am wanting to go shopping really quick, and Drew, can you quote me a price? What's the going rate on potions of healing? Just like the weakest level potions of healing.
I think those are common, if I remember correctly. Those are common, so they'd be like 50 to 100.
I believe so. Hold on.
They're in the player's handbook.
They are 50 gold pieces. You see them advertised. You see them in stores, and you see a variety of them. Give me an insight check.
Insight, eh?
Mm.
Oh my goodness. Rolled a natural 1 on my insight check, dude. I did it.
Unfortunately,
I did
you are
it.
stopped from taking a closer look at a few of the different looking bottles at one of them by an elf bashing into you. He quickly makes his apologies in Elven and hurries along his way. You see that he's wearing long flowing green robes, and he's kind of standing up for the crowd a little bit, but hurries along his way and turns a corner. Looking back at the potions, you see that all but 2 of the bottles have now been claimed, sold to people. So now you just have 2 bottles, both of which look quite dusty, look old, but from your experience of seeing potions, it looks like it's a healing potion. It'll probably do the trick.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm going to honor my -1 and at least buy one of them and faithfully use it at some point in the next arc. I'm going to honor that -1 and commit to it, or that just the natural one. So so how much is it for each of these potions? Are they like the full 50?
They are the full 50.
Full 50 each? Each. Well, I'm only going to buy one.
Okay.
I'm only going to buy one. Yeah.
The toothless shopkeeper giggles as he hands you the potion and pockets your gold very quickly.
And I'll say, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. Eigner was visibly drunk the entire time he was doing the transaction. Like,
Right.
he's got like a really vicious day drunk thing going on, and it's not pretty. Not pretty. So I'm gonna write down one mysterious potion, and you just tell me what happens when I drink it. Okay?
Okay.
Eridu will spend his time probably talking with these soldiers and gathering some information about what the new contingent of mixed elven and human soldiers are doing, and he probably do the same with the dwarves on their leave.
Okay. Could you give me two separate checks, one for the dwarves and one for the humans and elves, and make it a not persuasion, investigation.
Okay.
But make it a charisma-based investigation
I
rather than intelligence.
manage that.
Whoa, that's interesting.
I am not trained in investigations, so it is a 18. Sorry, I can't math. 18 for the elves and humans, and a 3 for the dwarves.
You see that many of the dwarves are reluctant to speak to you, and from the whispered conversations in Dwarven and the little... do you speak Dwarven?
I do not.
From the little Dwarven that you've managed to pick up in your years, you notice that there are several swear words and a few slurs directed at elven kind. So you presume that they're not open to talking to you because of your heritage.
Wow.
Talking to the humans and elves, however, they seem very welcoming of your conversation. And over the course of these 2 days, you learn that they're being stationed here and nearabouts, mostly for reasons that they are unaware of. One or two of them have heard rumors that they share with you that something's on the horizon, and that they are being put here as a show of force, a peacekeeping measure, but nothing more. Many of them even came without their full arms and armor. They traveled light just to get here quickly.
Okay. So Eridu would ask, probably knowing the answer, if there's threat of war, or if they think there's threat of war.
All of them brush that aside entirely. Most of them are just worried about getting into bar fights and getting into bumps and scrapes in the city. They are not concerned at all about war being on the horizon. They don't think that that's a possibility.
Okay.
What do they know?
Well, sometimes you have basically you have like a show of force. So if the dwarves up theirs, like you up your show of force just so that way, like, you're not gonna actually get in a fight, just to kind of shore up the balance.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a pretty common turn of phrase. I've upped my show of force, up yours.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, the Americans put some nukes in Jordan pointing at Russia, so the Russians go to Cuba and point them at America.
Exactly.
Anywho.
Yes. Sorry, real world politics seeped in there.
It's okay. I don't mind real world politics. Let's just get out of the game.
Yes. So.
The peer meeting? Is that where we're at? Or
Yes. So, skipping through the
Before we start, are they going to feed us along that month route, or should we buy our own rations?
you'll be able to find out at this peer meeting. There's nothing on
Okay.
the parchment that tells you.
Okay.
You arrive, and there, standing at the pier, a bunch of elves, including a rather familiar-looking robed one that bumped into you earlier, Eigner.
Oh.
One of the elves stood in full elven plate mail,
Whoa.
strides forward upon your approach, noting that the rest of the harbour is pretty much empty at this afternoon time. Are you here about the job?
I will show them the paper that I ripped off and say, "That's us."
They look you all up and down, try to get the measure of you. Very well. Walk with us. And they continue walking along the harbour while expositing at you. They tell you that the job is to accompany a wagon train north. This wagon train will contain a party that you are to protect with your very lives if necessary.
Whoa.
But they understand that the life of a mercenary is often worth a lot more than that of those in their care. And so they will be compensating you and your families in the event of your demise.
Okay.
So they tell you that it's going to be a wagon train heading northwest. You'll be heading to the town of Boonstedt.
Boonstedt. That's right.
And this is 300 miles northwest. It's through treacherous terrain. Boonstedt is on the border to a large desert. It is there that the party that you're escorting will go into the desert. They will retrieve an artifact, and then they will return with the artifact, and you are to escort them back. So you will effectively have like a week or so in Boonstedt, just to do whatever you see fit. You will have free time there. You will have access to the full wagon and its supplies, which will include food and water for the journey up. They ask that you secure from the town of Boonstedt supplies for the return journey, and make sure that it's stocked up for the way down.
So, if I am to understand this, we are not to accompany the party into the desert itself.
No, they are going to be making this journey on their own. The reason we have asked for outside help is if a large military force was seen to be moving to this particular area, even though it's within friendly borders, it may produce some anxiety in former enemies of the empires.
Are we traveling along the river then? Like, not along the river itself, but along that road?
For a ways, yes.
Yes. I see. I understand in that case the need for discretion. It still eludes me that you would hire protection for the road, which is probably considerably safer than the desert, and then let your people go into the desert alone.
The desert itself should provide enough of a barrier should any foes wish to interfere. Then they would have to also brave the harsh territory. It is entirely up to your discretion if you wish to also accompany them into the dangerous territory. The deserts are not known for their hospitality. We will not be paying you extra for that danger.
Yeah, can you tell me more about Boonstedt? What's it like there? Is it
Is Boonstedt.
Boonstedt? Okay. Boonstedt.
We care very we care very much for our pronunciations.
Boonstedt is a town, a small farming community. There are several hamlets and villages nearby that provide it with food. It's essentially the trading hub of the region. It's also a border guard town. It was formerly a hill dwarf territory, and has since fallen to humans and halflings to look after. I understand that they have recently taken on a tiefling as an elected official, which is unusual in that area.
Wow.
With a 14 history, do you mind if I take a liberty with Boonstedt?
Not at all.
Boonstedt is a very interesting. It began as a place as a fort where the dwarves from across the river had been able to ford, and they hoped to gain a foothold in these lands. Unfortunately, when the rainy seasons came and the rivers rose again, they were not able to maintain the supply lines. Many of the dwarves who were stationed in Boonstedt lost their affiliation with the Empire and are some of the longer living families in the area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your historical knowledge is always amazes me, Eridu.
There are things we all have passions for.
Yeah. I rather like the sound of Boonstedt. Maybe I will stay there.
I have never been. I would like to visit.
Okay.
Wow.
So the elf falls silent and just gives you all a quizzical look, expectantly.
May I ask when and how payment shall be dispersed?
That can be negotiated. However, the intended form of payment is simply in gold.
Okay.
Very well.
If one desires something in more the vein of land or jewels, that can certainly be arranged.
Huh.
But the the preferred method of payment would be upon completion of your task, full payment up front. I understand that the reward is to be split between you, or are you part of a company with a different share system?
We're more,
freelancers.
we're more free enterprise, yes.
So
Right.
we'll take the gold and we'll make our own arrangements.
Very well.
Or should we
It's
take
not
platinum?
The currency, I think, matters little. The important factor is to understand, and I'm more making this point to Eridu and not to Eridu, to Okrim and Eigner. The important thing is to understand that our reward should be split evenly amongst the three of us.
Well, yes.
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 That's amongst us to decide.
Yes.
We'll yeah. We're taking. I am confident that we're taking this. I am willing to take this if my companions are.
I assumed my presence was a mark of assent.
Well, sometimes you show up
Consent.
somewhere and you decide in the moment that you no longer want to consent to what's presented for you.
I am an elf. We decide nothing in the moment.
Well,
Very good. I will introduce you to the caravan leaders, and you will then have 24 hours to prepare, and we shall leave.
quick
in
note.
early-
Supplies. What supplies do we need to acquire before we leave?
There will be an itemized list with the caravan when you arrive at Bunstead to resupply the caravan. The caravan will be automatically supplied for you. We have secured the majority of the supplies. In fact,
For us, what supplies do we need to take? Food, like what kind of blankets?
we
What are
do
you-
have additional supplies with the caravan to be able to provide for a contingent of up to 6. There being 3 of you, I assume that provided you have healthy appetites, nothing will go to waste.
Okay.
Now, my associate here, Vilren, has been to market and procured everything, and he points to the person in the green robes that you saw earlier, Eigner.
Yes, I remember you.
How very rude of all of us. What is your name?
I am Jalin. This will ring bells in Eridu and Okrim's ears. Jalin is Jalin Takintyre. He is, in fact, a general of the Takintyre clan. He's seen combat, especially among minor insurgency forces and uprisings far, far to the west, far away from Twin Harbors. But it seems that
Is
he's
he a
made
part
the
of the
journey all the way
direct
here.
descendancy, or is he a part of one of the branches?
He's one of the branches.
Okay.
Excuse me, Jalen, if I might ask, but the Takatars do not typically come this far south. Why have your people taken interest in these harbors?
Yeah, why? I mean, sorry, he's talking. Sorry, I didn't say anything.
Our business usually is our own. Since you are helping us, I will tell you that we have great interest in this particular enterprise, going off without a hitch. And this particular place is where we managed to convene all of our supplies and people. It seemed only fitting to also utilize the great mercenary trade here to secure less conspicuous escort.
Is your presence here in a way linked with the contingents of elves and humans of the free kingdoms with whom are now stationed in this area?
Our allies certainly want to make a show of force to make sure that we are well protected before we head off.
Head off.
Yes, before we leave to move north
Oh,
on
so
this mission.
you'll be accompanying us in this mission as well.
I will be accompanying you for half of the journey there. I will then be branching off to go and tend to other matters.
I see. Would it be appropriate for me to ask for more information about the occupants of the caravan, the party, which we should protect with our lives if necessary?
Appropriate? No, but you can do it anyway.
Absolutely. I will introduce you to the members of the caravan and show you around the wagons and oxen that we'll be using to draw the carts. And I'll also show you a map so that you might familiarize yourself with the journey that we'll be taking.
I do love maps.
And so he takes you over towards a pile of crates where he pulls out a map and a whole bunch of other things and shows you the trail that you'll be taking. Over the next few hours, he takes you to a nearby stables where the wagons are currently stationed along with the oxen, which you can tell have recently been purchased. The oxen came from Twin Harbors, or at least a trader that operates from here. The wagons are 4. One of them is essentially a set of sleeping quarters. It's stacked bunks on either side of a wooden wagon bed with a tarp over the top. The others are all supply wagons, providing rations, cured meats, and wine as the only drinks.
Wow.
You can see that there are a large supply of water skins as well in the back of one of the wagons that are completely empty. And you are introduced to the party. The most prominent 2 members of this 8-man group is Silin and Vilren.
And what makes them stand out?
Vilren is the historian, and it appears that Vilren was brought along because of his knowledge of the area. Silin, however, is daughter to Jalin. She is there as military commander of the mission.
Okay.
Of the entire mission, not just halfway when they break off, but she's going to go all the way through to Birkenstock.
She's going all the way, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to say Birkenstock.
I'll strike Vilren up in a little bit of conversation. You've trained in the historical ways. Tell me what are your focuses? Where's your specialty?
I primarily look at the details that people often miss. Often you'll find that historical details are left in bards' tales rather than simply written down in official manuscripts. People often forget these things, but if you can track down the etymological root of particular words, phrases, or stories, you can quite easily find that there's historical fact hidden behind there. I find it fascinating. So
you're interested in sort of the human element of history.
I'm not a fan of the phrasing there, but yes.
The mortal element. You understand.
Yes.
The elephant element. We are.
That's what I was waiting for. So
The elephant.
clarification. All the party members are going to be elves.
Yes.
Okay, like everyone, and then the 2 guys we met, both elves. Everyone's an elf. Ace is an elf. You're an Azamar, and I'm human. So we're like extreme minority right now. Like
Yeah, all all the soldiers are elves. Everyone except for the two of us are going to be elves.
Okay. It's an elf town, dude. That's what is going on right now. Okay, so you said we had 24 hours. Should we get to the point where we're like, what are the last minute things that we want to do in that 24-hour period before we leave?
Yes. And then we'll kick
do
off
wanna-
and start the journey.
Well, actually, we can do that on the road.
Hmm?
I was going to talk to Silent about her military history, but we can talk about that on the road.
Okay. In fact, what might be best is if that conversation takes place over the course of the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anything that people want to do before they depart?
Yeah, I just want to spend a little more gold here. I want to buy like maybe 3 more hand axes, and I also will go deconstruct my home, essentially. Like I just live in this little like shitty built lean-to shack out on the outskirts of town, like under some big tree or something. So I'm gonna take all the materials and just kind of like tear them apart, and I've got some like crude containers for them. Yeah, I'm really trying to invest and wait to get a bag of holding. So I'm gonna look up how much gold that is and try and save some more gold.
500 to 1,000, I think normally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gonna
No,
save.
because it's a rare item, so 1,000 to 5,000.
Yeah. Well, cool. So can you quote me really quick? How much should I spend for 3 hand axes?
3 hand axes. Go with standard player's handbook prices for a basic hand axe. So that's 15 gold pieces for 3 hand axes.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep.
All right.
You can haggle if that's something that you're wanting to do.
Man, I did so bad at the last one, that I don't even want to chance it. I already have
That's
this.
fine.
I already have this mysterious potion that is gonna do God knows what to me. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm just gonna just clean up my inventory here, and yeah, I'm good. I'm like pretty much ready to go. I got my home all packed up like a little hermit crab or whatever.
Do I have any extra coin aside from just the starting equipment?
Let's say you've got an extra 30 gold besides starting equipment.
Very good, thank you.
Okrim, will you have shared with Jalin details about your fiancé in the unfortunate incident of your potential demise?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
So she'll get your share, essentially.
Actually, no. I'm going to-
What?
I don't like people that I don't know knowing about her, because I work in a very dangerous line of work,
Mm-hmm.
and the last thing I need is something happening. So I'm going to give them the information of Malcolm, the captain of the Tranquility, and
Okay.
he knows if anything happens. That to give her whatever, but I trust him. I don't. I've been doing this. I've been doing this between the Tranquility and as an adventurer for long enough to know that I don't trust anyone I don't know to even know about her.
Okay. Right. And Eridu, anything that you're doing before we set off?
Oh yes, he will definitely instruct them that should he pass away in this journey, his payment should be received by his guild to then be distributed as necessary amongst them.
Okay.
Which the leader of his guild is also connected with the Trinity, or not the
Tranquility.
Tranquility. Thank you. Although I don't know her name. I don't know if you actually told me yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here, I'll give it to you in 2 seconds.
Cool.
Because I have all of their character sheets put together.
Yes.
It is Sierra Anata.
Okay, Sierra Anata.
She is also an ASMR bard, actually.
And then I will make sure that I go out and buy myself a handy deck of cards.
All right. You'll be able to pick up a crappy quality deck of cards for a copper piece, or you could get a really nice gilded backed. Gilded backed? The back of them are gilded for 7 silver.
I will pay 7 silver
don't-
for the
Don't do
the
it.
gilded back.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's the deck of many things. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
While in the time, if I can, I will also see
No.
about contacting this gentleman and seeing if he can have a custom deck made for me that are hand painted in the best quality imagery possible.
Yes, he claims that he can. The toothless man with a comb over says that he's an expert at creating craft items such as these.
At which point I will ask to see some of his works.
He pulls out a small box, opens the lid with a creak, and inside you see several rolls
Scorpion
of
on a stick!
several rolls of parchment, of which he unrolls one, and you see a beautiful painting, and you also see a few blank sets of cards that are normal rectangular shaped. You see a few that are hexagonal in shape, and you see some crude wooden dice. They don't appear to have had their faces carved yet, but you do see also in the box are some paintbrushes, a small pot that when he opens the lid are several small dollops of different colours of inks, and some carving tools.
I'll ask him his name.
And he tells you his name.
You don't have to give me a name now if you don't want to.
His name is... I need to come up with a name. I need a name. God damn it.
You can later. Come up with his name later.
Yeah.
Literally, my game last night, literally the player character decided his character's name was Shrug. Because he just went...
Tannic.
Tannic. Okay.
Tannic the Toothless Trader.
Aww. I love it.
Tannic the Toothless Trader.
And
Yes.
he's human, or what race is he?
He appears to be human, although he's got this kind of mucky look to him. That means that he could be half orc, but just weedy looking. Like his ear is torn up. The fact that he's toothless as well. He's got a weird look to him. You can't fully put your finger on it.
Gotcha.
So, have we decided, since playing cards are based off of traditional tarot cards, have we decided in our world that the when discussing playing cards, you're looking at that sort of concept? Like you're typically getting a standard tarot deck.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I have no real strong feelings about it, but I think that's cool.
It fits into my character's backstory. So.
All
I
right.
would assume that there are
Then let's
different
go with
types
it.
of card games. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Traditionally, playing cards are
Yeah.
based off a tarot deck, and so I'm asking for playing cards. Traditionally, that would be the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you'd get cards that you could use in games of chance or in predicting the future.
where like Seven Dragon or I think it's Seven Dragon Ante.
Three Dragon Ante.
Three Dragon Ante is its own game
Correct.
with its own cards made specifically.
Which, by the way, I own.
Yeah, my buddy used to
IRL.
Fun
IRL,
game.
I own that.
For sure.
From 3.5.
Dude. Right. So after your shopping escapade, the rest of the day goes on, and
Oh,
you meet up
can I-
with...
Can I step in really quick and just say, like, as far as discussion of like where my share should go in case I
Yes.
die, Eigner is, you know, just when he starts talking about the whole subject, it seems like he gets a little bit just like frustrated in this like depressed like black humor kind of zone, and he just says like, "Oh, you gotta put it in my casket with me. I'll be taking it to the next life. Oh, I'll be taking that." Ugh. And then he and then he stops for a moment and regains his composure, and then says, "I want you to give it to, essentially like the local church or cathedral or something. Like there's this particular one in Twin Harbor that is very active in doing just like community-based things and being like a true community center in a really rough section of the town, and they like take care of a lot of kids. You know, they have like the whole orphanage there and everything, you know. So he's like calling out this one specific church, or you know, like I guess we haven't talked to monastery. We haven't talked enough about like the whole religious system for me to accurately say what type of building or what type of organization.
There would in fact be chapels and
chapel,
and
monastery.
churches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These-
chapels for
Yeah.
cathedrals for clerics and paladins, monasteries for monks.
Yeah, these all exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Before we impart on our journey, can we take a break?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
I would like to get some food.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See you guys soon.
See you soon.
Yeah, in a little bit.